was the worst possible time for my car to break down. I had just taken a job in a small town in Maine, working the night shift at a gas station on the edge of town. It wasn't ideal, but after losing my last job and burning through my savings, I had no choice but to take what I could get. The gas station was the last stop before a long stretch of empty road leading into the mountains. Barely anyone stopped by after midnight. That night, a thick fog had rolled in, swallowing the roads and making it impossible to see more than a few feet ahead. I was finishing up my shift at 3 a.m. when my co-worker, Carl, called in to say his car wouldn't start. That meant I was stuck there until morning. I sighed and decided to make myself a cup of coffee when I heard it, the tap, tap, tap on the glass door. It startled me because I hadn't heard any cars pull up. But there, standing just outside the station, was a man in a long coat and a wide-brimmed hat, his face obscured by the fog and shadows. Something about him made me uneasy. Maybe it was the way he stood completely still, as if waiting for me to do something. I walked over to the door and unlocked it. "Hey sir, need gas?" I asked. "No," he replied. His voice was oddly smooth, like it didn't belong to someone standing in the freezing cold. "I need to use your phone." I hesitated. There was something off about the man, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Sure," I said, stepping aside. He walked in slowly, his boots making soft thuds on the tile floor. I pointed to the phone on the counter. He lifted the receiver and dialed a number. I pretended not to listen, but the line was dead. That phone hadn't worked in weeks. Yet, as he held the receiver to his ear, his lips moved like he was talking to someone. Then, after a few seconds, he nodded, said thank you, and hung up. The silence that followed made my skin crawl. "Did you get through?" I asked cautiously. "Yes," he said, but that wasn't possible. The line was dead. He turned toward the door and stepped outside, disappearing into the fog. I rushed forward, pushing the door open to see where he went. There was nothing. No footsteps, no sound, just the thick, suffocating fog. I slammed the door shut, my heart pounding. Trying to shake off the unease, I locked the door, turned off the lights, and sat behind the counter, waiting for sunrise. But then, the phone rang. The same dead phone, the one that hadn't worked in weeks. I stared at it, frozen. The ringing filled the small gas station, cutting through the silence like a razor. I reached for the receiver with a trembling hand and lifted it to my ear. "Hello?" At first, there was silence. Then a voice whispered, "Don't let him back in." Click. The line went dead. My blood turned to ice. I turned slowly toward the glass door. And there he was, the man in the fog, standing completely still, smiling, waiting. Subscribe our channel and I will meet you with another true ghost story.